reminder to buy milk. Simone Carter stood in the doorway of her own kitchen, her rolling suitcase still behind her, her keys dangling from her fingers. She had just returned from a 3-day business trip to Seattle. The house was quiet in that heavy way that meant no one else was home. She should have felt relieved after the early morning flight and the traffic from the airport. Instead, her stomach twisted with a feeling she couldn't name. The envelope was cream-colored and expensive. Her name was written across it in Gerald's precise handwriting. Not "my love," or "Simone, my wife," or even just "S," the way he used to write it when they were young and he would leave her little notes in her lunch bag. Just Simone Carter, like she was a business associate or a stranger. She picked it up. Her hands didn't shake. That surprised her. Maybe some part of her had known this was coming. Maybe that was why she hadn't called when her flight was delayed. Maybe that was why she hadn't texted from the airport. Some instinct had told her to stay quiet and come home unannounced. The paper inside was thick and expensive too. Everything Gerald touched had to look expensive these days. She unfolded it and read. "Simone, by the time you read this, you'll understand that our marriage is over. I've tried to make this work for years, but I've finally found real love with Vanessa. She understands me in ways you never could. She supports my dreams and ambitions. She makes me feel alive. I need you to pack your personal belongings and leave before I return home tomorrow evening. Vanessa will be moving in and we're starting our life together. This house, this life, everything we built, it's mine now. You can stay with your sister or find an apartment. I'll have my lawyer send the divorce papers next week. Please make this easy on both of us and be gone before I return. There's nothing left to discuss. Gerald." Simone read it twice, then a third time. Her chest felt tight but her mind was strangely clear. 12 years of marriage reduced to a single page. 12 years of cooking his favorite meals, managing his life, supporting his career moves, enduring his criticism about her appearance, her hobbies, her little projects as he called her work. 12 years of slowly becoming smaller and quieter while he became louder and more demanding. She walked through the house she had called home. The living room with the cream sofa she had picked out, though Gerald took credit for their tasteful decorating when guests visited. The dining room where she had hosted countless dinners for his colleagues while he barely acknowledged her presence. The bedroom with the king-sized bed where he had become increasingly distant over the past 2 years. 2 years. Had it been going on that long? She opened his closet. Half of it was already empty. He had been planning this, packing slowly so she wouldn't notice. How many times had he told her he was going to the gym or working late while he was actually with Vanessa? How many times had she believed him because she wanted to trust her husband? Simone sat on the edge of the bed and looked at the note again. "This house, this life, everything we built, it's mine now." She almost laughed. Gerald had no idea. He truly had no idea. She pulled out her phone and dialed a number she had saved under plant delivery, in case Gerald ever went through her contacts. It rang twice before a woman's crisp voice answered. "Simone, I've been expecting your call. Patricia, I need you to pull the files. All of them. It's time. Are you sure?" Simone looked around the bedroom one last time. At the photos on the dresser that showed a smiling couple who didn't exist anymore. At the life she had tried so hard to preserve. At the version of herself she had shrunk into to make him comfortable. "I'm sure. How fast can you move?" "I can have preliminary papers filed by morning. Full package by the end of the week. Do you want the complete option?" "Everything, Patricia. I want everything." "He's not going to see this coming." Simone smiled for the first time since reading the note. "No, he's really not." She hung up and walked to the guest room. This was where she kept her real life, the one Gerald never bothered to ask about. Her laptop, her files, her business records. The things that mattered. She began to pack but not to leave. She was packing evidence, documentation, 8 years of careful planning that Gerald had dismissed as his wife's cute hobby. Her phone buzzed. A text from her sister Laurel. "How was Seattle? Did they sign?" Simone typed back. "They signed. $20 million contract. Also, I'm getting divorced." 3 dots appeared immediately. Then disappeared. Then appeared again. Finally, "What? Calling you now." The phone rang and Simone answered. "Don't freak out." "Don't freak out? Don't freak out? What happened?" Simone told her about the note. She kept her voice steady and calm as she described coming home to find her marriage ended by a piece of expensive stationery. Laurel was silent for a long moment. Then she said quietly, "I never liked him. You know that. But I'm so sorry, honey. I'm so sorry he did this to you." "Don't be sorry. Be ready. This is going to get interesting." What do you mean? Gerald thinks he's throwing me out with nothing. He thinks I'm going to quietly disappear. He has no idea about Sterling Solutions. He has no idea about the house. He has absolutely no idea who he just tried to discard. Laurel's voice changed. Oh no. That idiot. That idiot is going to learn a very expensive lesson about underestimating his wife. They talked for another hour while Simone continued to pack documents and personal items. Not to leave. To prepare. By the time she hung up, night had fallen. She ordered dinner delivery and ate in the kitchen while reviewing files on her laptop. Her company, Sterling Solutions, had started as a genuine hobby 8 years ago. She had been good with computers since college, and when Gerald's dismissive attitude made her feel worthless at home, she started taking freelance consulting jobs. Small at first, then bigger, then much bigger. She had incorporated 5 years ago, kept the business completely separate from their marriage assets, and built it into one of the most successful tech consulting firms in the region. Gerald knew she did some computer work. He had no idea she employed 47 people. He had no idea she had clients across 3 continents. He had no idea her personal net worth was over $50 million. And the house. The beautiful 4-bedroom house in the best neighborhood that Gerald loved to show off? It had been purchased through her family trust fund, left to her by her grandmother. Gerald's name had never been on the deed. He had never bothered to check. He just assumed because he made the mortgage payments that it was his. Except there was no mortgage. Simone owned it outright. And according to the legal documents she had signed when they got married, any property owned before marriage or acquired through family inheritance remained separate property. Gerald had just tried to evict her from her own house. Simone finished her dinner and cleaned the kitchen. She took a long shower and changed into comfortable clothes. Then she sat at the kitchen table with her laptop and began making lists. Phone calls to make. Documents to gather. Meetings to schedule. At midnight, her phone buzzed again. A text from an unknown number. Simone, this is Vanessa. Gerald told me about the divorce. I just want you to know I never meant to hurt you. He said you two were already over emotionally. I hope we can be mature about this situation. Simone stared at the text for a long moment. Then she blocked the number without responding. She had no interest in anything Vanessa had to say. This woman had willingly participated in destroying her marriage. Maturity didn't require Simone to pretend that was acceptable. She went to bed in the guest room. Sleep came surprisingly easily. Maybe because for the first time in years she wasn't lying next to someone who had stopped loving her. Maybe because she knew what was coming. Maybe because that note, as cruel as it was, had finally given her permission to stop trying to save something that had been dead for a long time. Tomorrow, Gerald would expect to find an empty house and a quiet, obedient wife who had simply disappeared from his life. Instead, he was going to get the shock of his life. Simone smiled in the darkness and closed her eyes. The real story was just beginning. Simone woke at 6 as usual, the soft light filtering through the guest room curtains. For a moment she forgot. Then she remembered the note and felt a strange sense of freedom wash over her. No more pretending. No more shrinking herself. No more wondering if she could save a marriage that had been one-sided for years. She made coffee and opened her laptop at the kitchen table. Her calendar was packed. Conference call with the Tokyo office at 7. Review session with her development team at 9. Lunch meeting with a potential investor at noon. Her life had been full and purposeful for years. Gerald had just never bothered to notice. At 7 sharp, she connected to the video call. Her team in Tokyo greeted her with their usual efficiency. They discussed the new security protocols for a banking client, reviewed timeline adjustments, and approved budget increases. Simone signed off feeling energized. This was real. This was hers. This was what she had built while Gerald complained she didn't pay enough attention to his needs. At 8, Patricia Bennett called. Patricia was the best divorce attorney in the state, and Simone had quietly retained her 6 months ago when Gerald's distance became too obvious to ignore. She had hoped she wouldn't need Patricia's services. That hope died yesterday on the kitchen counter. Good morning, Simone. I've reviewed everything you sent last night. This is even better than I thought. Define better. Your financial separation is perfect. Your business is completely protected. The house is entirely yours. And I did some preliminary research on Gerald last night. The man is drowning in debt. Simone sat up straighter. What? Credit cards maxed out. Personal loan from a questionable lender. His salary barely covers the payments. I'm guessing he's been living beyond his means trying to impress someone. Vanessa. Probably. There's more. I have a friend who's a private investigator. She owes me a favor. Would you like her to take a look at Gerald's activities? Yes. There's also the matter of his instruction for you to leave the house. We can use that. It shows abandonment intent, cruel treatment. Combined with adultery, you have grounds for a fault-based divorce in this state. He gets nothing. Simone thought about 12 years of marriage, of trying so hard to be enough, of believing his criticism was meant to help her improve, of losing herself bit by bit. I want the full package, Patricia. Divorce, asset protection, everything. And I want to know exactly who my husband has been while I was busy building a life. Consider it done. I'll have papers filed today. Service will happen this week. Are you safe in the house? I'm not leaving. Good. It's yours. He has no legal right to tell you to leave. In fact, as the property owner, you could legally evict him. That thought settled into Simone's mind like a puzzle piece clicking into place. File the eviction papers too. Music to my ears. I'll call you this afternoon with updates. Simone spent the next hour reviewing her business financials. Sterling Solutions had 3 major contracts in progress and 2 more in negotiation. Her team was brilliant. Her clients were happy. Her revenue projections for the year were exceeding expectations. She had built something remarkable. At 9, her development team joined the video call. There was Priya, her lead developer. James, who handled client relations. Nicole, her operations manager. Trevor, the cybersecurity specialist. They had no idea their boss was going through a divorce. They just knew her as the sharp, focused CEO who had recruited each of them personally and paid them well above market rates. They discussed the new project timeline, reviewed code deployments, and celebrated James closing another major client. When the meeting ended, Nicole stayed on the line. Boss, you okay? You seem different today. Simone considered lying, then decided against it. I'm getting divorced. Found out yesterday. Nicole's face transformed from concern to fury. That man never deserved you. I met him once at the company dinner, remember? He introduced himself as your husband and then spent 20 minutes talking about his job without asking what any of us did. That sounds like Gerald. You're going to be fine, Simone. Better than fine. You're going to thrive. You already are thriving. He's just been too stupid to notice. After Nicole logged off, Simone sat with those words. She was thriving. She had been thriving for years. Gerald's note hadn't destroyed her. It had just revealed what was already true. She had outgrown him long ago. Her phone rang. Unknown number. She answered cautiously. Mrs. Carter? This is Detective Reese Holloway. I'm a private investigator working with Patricia Bennett. She asked me to look into your husband's recent activities. Do you have time to talk? I do. I'll keep this brief for now. Full report coming later. But I wanted you to know what I found in the first 4 hours. Your husband Gerald Carter has been in a relationship with Vanessa Wright for approximately 18 months. They've taken 3 trips together, all charged to credit cards in his name. The spending is significant. Hotels, restaurants, gifts. He's deep in debt financing this relationship. Anything else? Vanessa Wright is married. Her husband is Thomas Wright, an attorney. He travels frequently for work, which is likely how she's maintained the affair. There's more, but I need another day or 2 to confirm before I share it. What kind of more? Reese paused. The financial kind. Let me verify the details first. I'll have a complete file for you by Friday. After the call ended, Simone sat very still. Gerald was having an affair with a married woman. Gerald was in massive debt. Gerald had written her a note telling her to leave her own house so he could move his mistress in. The absurdity of it almost made her laugh. Her lunch meeting was with Daniel Chin, a venture capitalist interested in investing in Sterling Solutions expansion. She met him at an upscale restaurant downtown. He was early, already seated and reviewing something on his tablet. Simone. Good to see you. They shook hands and settled into discussing business. Daniel wanted to invest $15 million in exchange for a 15% stake in the company. Simone countered with $10 million for 10%. They negotiated over salmon and asparagus, 2 professionals who respected each other's position. By the time dessert arrived, they had a deal. Your company is impressive, Daniel said. Your growth trajectory is rare. Most consultancies plateau. You keep expanding. I hire the best people and I listen to them. And I never stop learning. Your husband must be proud. Simone set down her fork carefully. My husband is divorcing me. I found out yesterday. Daniel's eyebrows rose. I'm sorry. That must be difficult. It's clarifying actually. Turns out I've been succeeding in spite of my marriage, not because of it. Then he's an idiot. And his loss is your gain. You're about to be free to focus entirely on your empire. Empire. Simone liked that word. That afternoon, Patricia called with updates. Divorce papers are filed. We're having him served tomorrow at his workplace. Eviction notice will be served simultaneously at the house. I've also filed for a restraining order requiring him to stay away from you and the property until the divorce is finalized. His workplace. Maximum impact. He works at Davidson Financial, correct? Large open office floor. He'll be served in front of his colleagues. Tends to make people cooperative very quickly. That seems harsh. Simone, he told you to get out of your own house so he could move his mistress in. Harsh is relative. That evening, Simone cooked dinner for herself. A real dinner, not the elaborate meals Gerald expected. Just grilled chicken and vegetables. She ate on the back patio watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of pink and purple. Her phone buzzed. Gerald. She didn't answer. It buzzed again. Then again. Then a text. Simone, we need to talk. Call me. She deleted it without responding. Another text. I know you're upset, but this is childish. We need to discuss the logistics of you moving out. She blocked his number. Within minutes, a different number called. She answered. Simone, it's me. Why did you block me? Gerald, we have nothing to discuss. You'll be hearing from my attorney. Your attorney? What attorney? Simone, be reasonable. We can handle this like adults. Adults don't send notes telling their spouse to vacate their own home. What are you talking about? This is my house too. No, Gerald. It's my house. Only my house. You'll understand soon. Don't contact me again. She hung up and blocked that number too. Sleep came easier that night. Tomorrow Gerald would be served. Tomorrow the pretense would shatter completely. Tomorrow he would begin to understand exactly who he had underestimated. Simone fell asleep smiling. Simone was in a meeting with her development team when her phone vibrated with a text from Patricia. It's done. He's been served. Calling you in 30 minutes. She finished the meeting on autopilot, her mind already shifting to what was happening across town. Gerald worked on the 14th floor of Davidson Financial, a prestigious investment firm where he was a senior analyst. He loved that job. Loved the title. Loved telling people at parties what he did for a living. Loved the status. She wondered what his face looked like when he was handed divorce papers and eviction notices in front of his colleagues. Exactly 30 minutes later, Patricia called. How did it go? Patricia's voice held barely contained satisfaction. According to the process server, Gerald turned an interesting shade of purple. Started yelling that there must be a mistake. His supervisor had to ask him to step into a conference room. The eviction notice really got his attention. Did he say anything about the house? He told the server there was obviously an error because the house was his. The server handed him the property deed with your name on it and your grandmother's trust documentation. I wish I could have seen his face. Simone felt a small surge of vindication. 12 years of being told her contributions didn't matter. 12 years of being made to feel small. One piece of paper showing she owned the roof over his head. What happens next? He has 72 hours to vacate the property. If he doesn't, we get law enforcement involved. The divorce proceeds separately. I'm filing for a fault-based divorce citing adultery and cruel treatment. In this state, that means he's not entitled to any of your separate property, including your business. He'll get nothing. What about his debt? His debt is his problem. You kept your finances completely separate. He can't touch anything you've built. After the call, Simone tried to focus on work, but her mind kept drifting. She wondered if Gerald had called Vanessa. If he was panicking. If he finally understood that his dismissive treatment of his wife had been a catastrophic miscalculation. At 3 o'clock, a new number called her. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. Simone Carter? A woman's voice, professional and warm. Speaking. This is Reese Holloway again. I have your full report ready. Can you meet me somewhere private? They agreed on a coffee shop near Simone's office. Reese was waiting at a corner table, a slim folder in front of her. She was in her 40s, with sharp eyes and silver threading through her dark hair. Thank you for meeting me, Reese said. I wanted to give you this in person because some of it is going to be hard to hear. Simone sat down. I'm ready. Reese opened the folder. Gerald Carter has been having an affair with Vanessa Wright for 19 months, not 18 as I originally stated. They met at a conference in Miami. The affair became serious quickly. He spent over $130,000 on this relationship. Hotels, gifts, trips. He doesn't have that kind of money. Where did it come from? That's the interesting part. Reese pulled out a bank statement. He's been embezzling from his employer. Simone's stomach dropped. What? Small amounts at first. Buried in expense reports. Fake vendor payments. It escalated over time. I estimate he's taken approximately $200,000 from Davidson Financial over the past year and a half. How is that possible? They have auditors. He's good with numbers. That's his job. He knew how to hide it. But I found it, which means an actual forensic audit will definitely find it. And Simone, there's a quarterly audit scheduled for next month. He's going to get caught. Yes. And when he does, he's looking at serious criminal charges. Embezzlement on this scale is a felony. He could face 5 to 10 years in prison. Simone sat back in her chair. Gerald was a criminal. Her husband of 12 years had been stealing from his employer to finance an affair with a married woman. The man who had criticized her work ethic, her ambition, her little projects, was a thief. There's more, Reese continued. Vanessa Wright works as a real estate agent. Moderately successful but not wealthy. Her husband Thomas is a corporate attorney who travels extensively. She's been telling Thomas she's at work conferences when she's actually with Gerald. But here's the thing, she's also been embezzling. What? From her real estate firm. Fake commission reports, inflated expenses. Not as much as Gerald, but still significant. About $60,000 over the past year. She and Gerald have been funding their affair with stolen money. Simone thought she should feel something. Shock maybe. Or instead she felt cold clarity. These were not good people who had made a mistake. These were people who had systematically lied, cheated, and stolen to get what they wanted. What do I do with this information? That depends. You could report it to the authorities. Or you could wait and let the audits discover it naturally. Or you could use it as leverage in your divorce to ensure Gerald doesn't make things difficult. Simone thought about the note. About being told to leave her own home. About 12 years of being diminished. I want copies of everything. And I want you to document everything Gerald does over the next 2 weeks. Every call, every meeting, every movement. You're going to use it. I'm going to protect myself. If Gerald tries to fight the divorce or make claims on my assets, I want to be able to show exactly who he is. Reese nodded approvingly. Smart. I'll keep watching him. One more thing, Vanessa has been trying to call you. I blocked her. She's persistent. She called my office thinking I work for you. Wanted to explain her side. I told her I don't take messages. That evening, Simone sat in her home office reviewing the investigator's report in detail. Bank statements, hotel receipts, credit card bills. A timeline of deception stretching back almost 2 years. She made copies of everything and stored them in 3 different locations. Her office safe, her attorney's office, and a cloud storage service. Her phone rang. Her sister Laurel. Have you heard from him? No. I blocked his numbers. He was served this morning. Good. How are you feeling? Surprisingly okay. I found out he's been embezzling from his company. Laurel was silent for a moment. Jesus, Simone. I know. And Vanessa, the woman he's leaving me for, is also embezzling from her company. They're both criminals. What are you going to do? Let it play out. The truth always comes out eventually. I don't need to do anything except protect myself. At 9 that night, someone knocked on her door. Simone checked the security camera. Gerald, looking disheveled and angry. She didn't open it. He knocked again harder. Simone. I know you're in there. We need to talk. She picked up her phone and texted Patricia. Gerald is at the house violating the restraining order. Patricia's response was immediate. Do not engage. Call police if he doesn't leave in 5 minutes. Simone set a timer and watched through the camera. Gerald pounded on the door. Yelled her name. Kicked the door frame. At 4 minutes and 30 seconds he pulled out his phone, made a call and walked back to his car. She watched him sit in the driver's seat, talking animatedly to whoever was on the phone. Probably Vanessa. After 10 minutes he drove away. Simone forwarded the security footage to Patricia with a note. Evidence of violation. Please use as needed. Before bed she checked her email. Mixed in with business correspondence was a message from an address she didn't recognize. The subject line read, From Vanessa, please read. She almost deleted it. Then curiosity won. Simone, I know you don't want to hear from me, but I feel like you deserve to know the truth. Gerald told me you two were separated. He said you were staying together for financial reasons but that the marriage was over emotionally. He said you had agreed to divorce but were waiting for the right time. I never would have gotten involved if I had known he was lying. I'm a good person. I made a mistake trusting him. I hope someday you can forgive me. I want you to know. I'm here if you need someone to talk to about what Gerald is really like. We could help each other through this. Vanessa. Simone read it twice, her anger building with each word. The manipulation was breathtaking. Vanessa was trying to position herself as a victim, as someone who had been deceived just like Simone. Worse, she was trying to create some kind of alliance, as if they were both Gerald's victims instead of Simone being the wife and Vanessa being the woman who had willingly destroyed her marriage. She deleted the email without responding. Vanessa would get no absolution from her. No friendship. No understanding. Some boundaries once crossed could not be uncrossed. Simone went to bed feeling the weight of everything she now knew. Gerald wasn't just unfaithful. He was a criminal. Vanessa wasn't just a mistress. She was an embezzler reaching out for sympathy. But beneath the weight was something else. A growing sense of freedom. She had spent 12 years trying to be enough for someone who would never value her. Now she knew the truth. Gerald wasn't capable of valuing anyone but himself. And that failure was his, not hers. She fell asleep planning her next moves. The divorce was just the beginning. Her real life was about to start. Simone woke to her phone ringing at 6 in the morning. Patricia. Good morning. We have a situation. What kind of situation? Gerald filed a countermotion claiming you defrauded him about the house ownership. He's alleging you hid assets during the marriage and that he's entitled to half of your business. Simone sat up in bed. He's what? It's baseless. We have all the documentation proving the house was yours before marriage and that your business was built with your own money and kept completely separate. But he's fighting back. We have a hearing scheduled for next week. Let him fight. We have everything we need to prove he's lying. There's more. He's also claiming you're alienating him from the marital home and requesting the court allow him to return to the property. He has 72 hours to remove his belongings. That deadline is today. I know. I suspect he's going to show up. You should have someone there with you. Laurel arrived at 10, carrying coffee and a determined expression. If that man shows his face, I want to be here. They didn't have to wait long. At 11, a moving truck pulled up outside. Gerald emerged from a car behind it, looking exhausted and angry. He marched to the front door and rang the bell repeatedly. Simone opened it but kept the security chain in place. Gerald. Move. I need to get my things. You have 2 hours. Take what's yours and leave. What's mine? Everything in this house is mine. Actually, nothing in this house is yours. The house belongs to me. The furniture was purchased with my money. Your clothes and personal items are yours. That's it. His face reddened. You can't do this. I've lived here for 12 years. You told me to be gone before you returned. I'm simply returning the favor. A woman appeared behind Gerald. Vanessa. She was tall and polished, her blonde hair perfect even at midday. She looked at Simone with something like curiosity. You must be Simone. I'm Vanessa. I think we should all sit down and talk about this like adults. Simone looked at her directly. I have nothing to say to you. You're not welcome on my property. Our property, Gerald interjected. And Vanessa has every right to be here. Laurel appeared behind Simone. Actually, she doesn't. This is private property. You're already violating a restraining order by being here, Gerald. Take your things and leave before my sister calls the police. Gerald's jaw clenched. Simone, you're being unreasonable. We built this life together. No, I built this life. You lived in it while criticizing everything I did. Now take what's yours and go. She closed the door and watched through the security camera as Gerald and the movers began carrying out his belongings. Clothes, golf clubs, electronics. The items that were clearly his. He tried to take furniture but the movers refused, showing him the inventory list Patricia had prepared that documented every item in the house and its purchase date. After 90 minutes, Vanessa's phone rang. Simone couldn't hear the conversation but she saw Vanessa's face change from composed to shocked. The woman stepped away from Gerald, talking rapidly into her phone. Then she walked to her car and drove away quickly. Gerald watched her leave, confusion on his face. He tried calling her but she didn't answer. He looked at the house one more time, then got in his car and left. The moving truck followed. Simone's phone rang. Reese, did you see a blonde woman leave the house in a hurry? Yes. Vanessa. Her husband just found out about the affair. He's filing for divorce. One of his colleagues saw her with Gerald at a restaurant last week and told him. He hired his own investigator and confirmed everything. He just called her. That's why she left. Yes. And it gets better. Thomas Wright is not a forgiving man. He's also a very connected attorney. He's going to make this divorce expensive and public for Vanessa. She's about to lose everything. After the call, Simone walked through her house. It felt different without Gerald's things. Lighter. More like hers. She had Laurel help her rearrange furniture, claiming the space fully. That evening, she received an email from Davidson Financial's legal department. They had become aware of irregularities in Gerald's accounts and were conducting an immediate audit. He had been placed on administrative leave pending the results. The dominoes were falling. 2 days later, Patricia called with an update. Gerald's attorney withdrew from his case. Why? Gerald can't pay him. He's broke. The credit card debt, the pending embezzlement charges, Vanessa's husband threatening to sue him for alienation of affection. He's drowning. What does this mean for the divorce? It means he can't fight anymore. He'll have to accept our terms. The house is yours, your business is yours, he gets nothing. And Simone, the audit at Davidson Financial found everything. They're pressing charges. Criminal charges. He's looking at arrest within the week. Simone sat with that information. Part of her felt vindicated. Part of her felt sad for the waste of it all. Gerald had thrown away everything. His marriage, his career, his freedom, for an affair with a married woman who was now facing her own reckoning. The next morning, she was working from her home office when the doorbell rang. 2 police officers stood on her porch. Mrs. Carter? We're looking for Gerald Carter. He doesn't live here anymore. We're divorcing. Do you know where we can find him? No. What's this about? We have a warrant for his arrest. Embezzlement charges. She gave them his work address and his known phone number. They thanked her and left. Within an hour, the news broke. Gerald had been arrested at a coffee shop near his apartment. The amount he had stolen was now public. So was the affair with Vanessa. Simone's phone exploded with texts from former friends, Gerald's family, mutual acquaintances. Everyone wanted to know if she was okay. She had known. She needed anything. She ignored most of them. The ones who had stood by her over the years got responses. The ones who had sided with Gerald during his subtle campaign to make her feel inadequate got silence. That evening, Gerald called from jail using a restricted number. She answered without thinking. Simone, please. I need help. I need bail money. I'll pay you back, I swear. No. Please. I made mistakes, but I'm still your husband. You can't just abandon me. You wrote me a note telling me to leave my own house. You had an affair. You stole money. You tried to claim my business. Gerald, you abandoned this marriage a long time ago. I'm just making it official. I'll lose everything. You already lost everything. You just didn't realize it until now. She hung up and blocked the number. Laurel came over that night with wine and Thai food. They sat on the back patio under the stars. How do you feel? Laurel asked. Free. Sad. Relieved. Angry. All of it. He deserves what's happening to him. I know. But 12 years, Laurel. 12 years of my life with someone who was lying the entire time. Not the entire time. Maybe at the beginning he loved you. But people change. He changed. And instead of being a man about it and ending things honestly, he became a coward and a criminal. Simone sipped her wine. I keep thinking about Vanessa's email. How she tried to make us allies. Like we were both victims of Gerald. You were both involved with the same man. That's where the similarity ends. You were his wife trying to save a marriage. She was actively helping him destroy it. She's facing her own consequences now. Her husband is divorcing her. She's under investigation for embezzlement at her company too. Good. Actions have consequences. Gerald is learning that. She's learning that. And you're learning that you're stronger than you ever knew. They finished the bottle of wine and talked until midnight. When Laurel left, Simone stood in her quiet house and felt something shift inside her. The anger was fading. The hurt was still there but duller. What remained was clarity. She had wasted 12 years on someone who didn't deserve her. She wouldn't waste another day. From now on, her life would be built on truth. On her own terms. On the foundation she had been quietly building while Gerald thought she was just playing at business. Tomorrow she would call the foundation she had been planning. The one designed to help women rebuild after divorce. She had the money. She had the motivation. She had the story that would inspire others. Gerald had tried to leave her with nothing. Instead, he had freed her to build everything. She fell asleep smiling, dreaming of the future she was about to create. The arrest made regional news. Senior analyst at Davidson Financial arrested for embezzlement. The story included details about the amount stolen, the affair, and the ongoing divorce. Simone's name was mentioned as the estranged wife, but reporters hadn't connected her yet to Sterling Solutions. She wanted to keep it that way. Patricia called early Monday morning. The prosecutor wants to meet with you. Why? You're a witness to Gerald's lifestyle spending. The trips, the gifts, the unexplained money. Your testimony would strengthen their case. It's voluntary, but I think you should do it. Simone agreed. 2 days later, she sat in a conference room with Assistant District Attorney Monica Ruiz, a sharp woman in her 40s with kind eyes and a no-nonsense demeanor. Mrs. Carter, I appreciate you meeting with me. I know this is difficult. It's fine. What do you need? Monica opened a file. Your husband spent over $200,000 on his affair with Vanessa Wright. Luxury hotels, expensive gifts, trips to the Caribbean. Did you notice any of this spending? No. We kept our finances separate. I had no access to his accounts and he had no access to mine. Did you notice any behavioral changes? New clothes, unexplained absences. Simone thought back. He started going to the gym more. Or claiming to. He bought new cologne. He was on his phone constantly but would walk away to take calls. I thought he was just stressed about work. Did he ever ask you for money? Once. About a year ago. He said he had unexpected dental expenses and his account was low. I gave him $3,000. He never paid it back. Monica made notes. Did you know about the affair before the note? I suspected something was wrong. The distance, the criticism, the way he stopped seeing me as a person and started seeing me as an inconvenience. But I didn't have proof until the note. The note where he told you to leave the house? Yes. My own house that he didn't know I owned. Monica looked up. I heard about that. That must have been satisfying when you served him with eviction papers. It was clarifying. 12 years I spent trying to be enough for him. And he didn't even know what I owned or what I had built. He saw what he wanted to see, a quiet wife who would do what she was told. They talked for another hour. Simone provided dates, details, observations. Everything that might help the case against Gerald. When she left, Monica walked her to the elevator. For what it's worth, he made a terrible mistake leaving you. And an even worse mistake stealing to finance it. He made a lot of mistakes. I was married to a stranger. At work, Simone threw herself into a new project. A major pharmaceutical company wanted Sterling Solutions to overhaul their cybersecurity infrastructure. It was a 3-year contract worth $40 million. Her team was energized and the work consumed her days. But at night, alone in her house, the reality of everything caught up with her. She started therapy with Dr. Amara Johnson, a psychologist who specialized in divorce recovery. Tell me about the note, Dr. Johnson said in their first session. Simone described coming home from Seattle, finding the cream-colored envelope, reading the cold dismissal of 12 years. How did it make you feel? Angry, relieved, confused. Like I had been living with a stranger who was pretending to be my husband. Do you feel like you failed? Sometimes. I keep thinking if I had been different, prettier, more attentive, maybe he wouldn't have cheated. Simone, look at me. His affair wasn't about you. It was about him. His choices. His character. You could have been perfect and he still would have made the same decisions. Over the following weeks, those sessions became a lifeline. Dr. Johnson helped her process the betrayal, the wasted years, the self-doubt that Gerald had cultivated. She learned that his constant criticism had been projection. He felt inadequate, so he made her feel inadequate. He felt out of control, so he controlled her. You built a $50 million business while he told you your work didn't matter, Dr. Johnson said. Do you understand how strong that makes you? How focused? Most people would have given up. You persisted. Simone started seeing herself differently. Not as the wife who hadn't been enough. As the woman who had been enough all along. Gerald had just been incapable of seeing it. 6 weeks after Gerald's arrest, Vanessa was arrested too. Her embezzlement from the real estate firm was smaller in scale but still felony level. The news coverage was brutal. 2 lovers, both thieves, both facing prison time. Social media had opinions. Most weren't kind. Simone's phone rang constantly with reporters requesting interviews. She declined them all. This wasn't her story to tell publicly. Not yet. But privately she was building something. She met with architects about a space for her foundation. A place where women going through divorce could get legal help, therapy, job training, and financial literacy education. She wanted to create what she hadn't had, a comprehensive support system. She named it Phoenix House. Because women weren't broken after divorce. They were reborn. The divorce was finalized on a gray Tuesday in October. Patricia called with the news. It's done. The judge signed the decree. You're free. How did Gerald react? He wasn't there. He's still in jail awaiting trial. His public defender tried to ask for spousal support. The judge laughed. Literally laughed. You're divorced, the house is yours, your business is protected, and he gets absolutely nothing. Simone sat with that information. Free. After 12 years of marriage and 6 months of legal proceedings, she was free. No more Gerald. No more pretending. No more shrinking herself. That night, she invited Laurel over. They ordered pizza and sat on the living room floor surrounded by paint samples. What color for the living room? Simone asked. Definitely not the beige Gerald insisted on. What about that deep blue? Ocean. Ocean blue it is. This is my house. My space. My life. They painted until midnight, music playing, wine flowing, laughter echoing through rooms that had been silent for too long. When they finished, Simone stood back and looked at the transformation. The beige walls that Gerald had demanded were now rich blue. Vibrant. Alive. Like her. To new beginnings, Laurel said, raising her wine glass. To new beginnings, Simone echoed. The trial was set for January. Gerald's attorney tried to negotiate a plea deal, but the prosecutor held firm. The amount he had stolen was too large, the betrayal of his employer's trust too complete. He would serve time. Vanessa's trial was separate but parallel. Her attorney was trying to claim she had been manipulated by Gerald, that she didn't understand what she was doing. The prosecutor had evidence showing she had been embezzling before she even met Gerald. That defense wouldn't work. Simone received a letter from Gerald forwarded through Patricia's office. She almost didn't open it, but curiosity won. Simone, I know you hate me. I understand why. I made terrible mistakes and I'm paying for them now. But I want you to know that I did love you once. Maybe I still do in some way. I never meant to hurt you so badly. I got caught up in something that felt exciting and new and I lost sight of what mattered. You deserved better than what I gave you. You always deserved better. I hope someday you can forgive me, not for my sake but for yours. Being angry takes energy and you have better things to do with your energy. I wish you well. Gerald. She read it twice. The letter was manipulative even in its apology. Telling her to forgive him for her sake. Claiming he loved her while admitting he betrayed her. Classic Gerald. Taking no real responsibility while appearing to take responsibility. She burned it in the fireplace and watched the paper curl and blacken. Some people didn't deserve forgiveness. Some actions were too harmful to excuse. And her energy was better spent building her future than processing his guilt. Phoenix House opened in November. The space was beautiful, bright and welcoming with comfortable furniture and private consultation rooms. Simone hired 3 full-time staff, a divorce attorney who did pro bono consultations, a therapist and a career counselor. She funded it entirely herself. The first client was a woman named Tamara, 32, with 2 kids and a husband who had drained their bank accounts before disappearing. Simone sat with her during the intake interview. I don't know what to do, Tamara said, tears streaming down her face. I have nothing. No money, no job, no way to support my children. Simone took her hand. You have more than you know. You have strength. You survived this far. Now we're going to help you thrive. Legal help, therapy, job training, whatever you need. You're not alone anymore. Watching Tamara's face transform from despair to hope, Simone understood why she had survived Gerald's betrayal. It wasn't just to rebuild her own life. It was to help other women rebuild theirs. By December, Phoenix House had helped 23 women. Some needed legal advice. Some needed therapy. Some needed job skills. All of them needed to know they weren't failures because their marriages ended. They were survivors starting new chapters. Simone's business continued to grow. The pharmaceutical contract was proceeding ahead of schedule. 2 more major clients signed on. She promoted Nicole to COO and hired 4 new developers. Sterling Solutions was thriving. One evening in mid-December, she was working late at the Phoenix House office when someone knocked on the door. She looked up to see a man in his late 30s, well-dressed and handsome, holding a coffee cup. We're closed, she said through the glass door. I'm not here for services. I'm here to make a donation. He held up an envelope. She opened the door cautiously. Who are you? Dante Morrison. I'm a venture capitalist. I heard about what you're doing here and I wanted to help. He handed her the envelope. Inside was a check for $50,000. Simone looked up at him in shock. This is incredibly generous. It's incredibly needed. I have sisters. I've seen what divorce can do to women who don't have resources. You're doing important work. Thank you. Really. This will help so many people. Good. That's all I wanted to hear. I'll get out of your hair now. Wait, would you like to see the space? See where your money is going? He smiled. I'd love that. She showed him around Phoenix House, explaining each service, sharing success stories while protecting client privacy. Dante asked thoughtful questions and seemed genuinely interested. When the tour ended, they stood in the lobby. You built this in 6 months? He asked. When you know what it's like to need help and not have it, you work fast. I looked up your business before I came. Sterling Solutions. You're the CEO. I am. Impressive. Building a $50 million company while going through a divorce and starting a nonprofit. Most people couldn't handle one of those things. Most people don't get their life blown up by a note on the kitchen counter. She hadn't meant to say that. It just came out. Dante's expression softened. I read about your husband's arrest. I'm sorry you went through that. Don't be. It freed me to become who I was always meant to be. He looked at her for a long moment. Would you have dinner with me sometime? Not a date necessarily. Just two people who respect what the other is building. Simone hesitated. She wasn't ready for dating. Wasn't ready to trust anyone that way. But dinner with someone who understood business, who supported her work, who didn't need anything from her, that felt safe. Dinner sounds nice. They exchanged numbers. He left. She sat in her office and wondered if she had just made a terrible mistake or taken the first step toward something good. Time would tell. The tech conference invitation came in January. Global Innovation Summit in San Francisco. 3,000 attendees, industry leaders, venture capitalists, and innovators from around the world. The organizers wanted Simone to deliver a keynote about building businesses during personal adversity. She accepted. Patricia called the same day to give her trial updates. Gerald's trial starts February 15th. The prosecutor expects it to last 2 weeks. They want you to testify. I'll be there. Vanessa's trial is scheduled for March. Separate proceedings but similar charges. Her attorney is still trying to claim she was manipulated. By Gerald? Yes. They're portraying her as a victim of his schemes. It's not working. The evidence shows she was embezzling before she even met him. After the call, Simone focused on preparing her keynote. She wrote and rewrote, trying to find the balance between sharing her story and protecting her privacy. Dr. Johnson helped her process what to reveal and what to keep sacred. You don't owe anyone your pain, Dr. Johnson said. Share what serves your message. Keep the rest for yourself. Phoenix House continued to grow. They had helped 53 women by mid-January. Tamara, the first client, had completed job training and landed a position as a medical billing specialist. She came to the office to share the news, her children with her. You saved my life, Tamara said, hugging Simone. I was ready to give up. Now I have a future. You saved your own life. We just gave you tools. Dinner with Dante happened on a Friday night. He chose a quiet Italian restaurant with excellent food and better wine. They talked about business, about their different paths in tech, about the challenges of maintaining ethics in an industry that often prioritized profit over people. You could have taken venture capital money for Sterling Solutions, Dante said. Why didn't you? I wanted full control. I spent too much of my life with someone else controlling me. My business would be mine completely. That's rare. Most founders take the money and deal with the oversight. I'm not most founders. He smiled. No, you're definitely not. They talked until the restaurant closed. No romantic overtones. Just two professionals who respected each other's work and enjoyed each other's company. When he walked her to her car, he didn't try to kiss her. Just said, same time next week? I'd like that. The next morning, Simone received an email from the conference organizers. They had reviewed her proposed keynote title, Building Through Betrayal, How Adversity Became My Advantage. They loved it. They were promoting it as the opening keynote. Expected attendance, 2,500 people. Simone felt anxiety creep in. She called Dr. Johnson. I'm scared. What if I share my story and people judge me? What if they think I'm weak for staying as long as I did? Simone, you stayed because you had hope. Because you believed in commitment. Because you were strong enough to try. The weakness was Gerald's, not yours. And anyone who judges you for trying to save your marriage isn't worth your concern. The weeks before the conference flew by. Sterling Solutions landed another major contract. Phoenix House opened a satellite office across town. Simone promoted 2 more staff members and hired a full-time grant writer to pursue foundation funding. Dante became a regular presence in her life. Not as a boyfriend. as a friend who understood the demands of building something meaningful. They had dinner weekly, compared notes on business challenges, and occasionally collaborated on Phoenix House initiatives. He introduced her to other venture capitalists who might fund the foundation's expansion. One evening over Thai food he asked, "How's your divorce recovery going?" "Better. Therapy helps. Building Phoenix House helps. Knowing Gerald is in jail awaiting trial helps. Does it feel like justice?" "It feels like consequences. He made choices. Now he lives with them. That's not about me getting revenge. That's just reality." "You're remarkably centered about all this." "I wasn't always. The first few weeks I was furious. I wanted him to suffer. But anger is exhausting. And it doesn't build anything. So I channeled it into Phoenix House, into my business, into becoming someone I'm proud of." "Are you proud of yourself?" The question caught her off guard. She thought about it honestly. "Yes, I am. For the first time in years, I'm proud of who I am." The conference arrived in late February. San Francisco was cold and foggy, the Golden Gate Bridge barely visible through the mist. Simone checked into her hotel and reviewed her speech one more time. 25 minutes to tell her story and inspire other people to build through their own adversities. The keynote was scheduled for 9 a.m. The ballroom was packed. Simone stood backstage, heart pounding, hands shaking slightly. The organizer gave her a 5-minute warning. She closed her eyes and thought about that note on the kitchen counter. About reading those cold words. About the moment her life shattered and reformed into something better. She was ready. The introduction finished. She walked onto the stage to applause. The lights were bright. She couldn't see most of the audience, but she could feel their attention. 6 months ago, I came home from a business trip and found a note from my husband. It told me to pack my things and leave before he returned with his mistress. It told me everything we built together was his now. It told me our marriage was over. The room was silent. That note was the worst and best thing that ever happened to me. Worst because it revealed I had spent 12 years married to someone who didn't see me, didn't value me, and didn't hesitate to discard me. Best because it freed me to stop trying to be enough for someone who would never think I was enough. She told her story. The secret business she had built while her husband dismissed her work. The house that had been hers all along. The divorce, the arrest, the beginning of Phoenix House. She didn't mention Gerald or Vanessa by name. She didn't need to. The story was about her transformation, not their failures. "Here's what I learned," she said, nearing the end of her keynote. "Adversity reveals who you are. It strips away the pretense and shows you what you're made of. And I learned I'm made of steel. I learned I'm capable of building empires while my world burns down. I learned I don't need someone else's validation to know my worth." She paused, letting that sink in. So if you're facing adversity right now, in business, in life, in relationships, I want you to know something. You're stronger than you think. You're more capable than anyone told you. And your current struggle is not your final chapter. It's just the difficult middle part of a story that ends with you rising higher than you ever thought possible. The applause started before she finished. It built into a standing ovation that lasted 3 full minutes. She stood on that stage, tears in her eyes, and felt something shift inside her. She wasn't just surviving anymore. She was thriving. After the keynote, people swarmed her. Business cards, questions, requests for interviews. A woman in her 50s grabbed her hand and said, "Thank you. My husband left me last year and I've been paralyzed. You just showed me I can build again." That evening she had dinner with Dante. He had flown up to surprise her and attend the keynote. "You were incredible," he said. The whole room was captivated. "I was terrified. You didn't show it. You looked powerful and certain. I felt like I was going to pass out." That's what courage is. Being terrified and doing it anyway. They talked late into the night. About her vision for Phoenix House's expansion. About Sterling Solutions' growth trajectory. About the speaking requests that were already flooding her inbox. As they left the restaurant, Dante said, "I know we agreed to keep this casual. But I need to tell you something. I'm falling for you. Not because you're successful or strong or inspiring. Because you're real. You're genuine. You've been through hell and came out the other side without becoming bitter or closed off. That's rare." Simone's heart raced. She wasn't ready, was she? "Dante, I appreciate that. But I'm not ready for a relationship. The divorce is barely final. I'm still processing everything." "I know. I'm not asking for anything now. I just wanted you to know how I feel. So when you're ready, if you're ever ready, you'll know I'm interested." He kissed her forehead and walked her to her hotel. She went to sleep feeling something she hadn't felt in years. Hope. Not just for Phoenix House or Sterling Solutions. hope for herself, for the possibility that she might be ready to trust someone again. The next morning brought news. Gerald had been convicted on all counts. Sentencing was in 2 weeks, but the prosecutor expected 5 to 7 years in prison. Vanessa's trial was set to begin the following month. Simone felt a weight lift. Justice wasn't revenge. It was accountability. Gerald had stolen, lied, and betrayed. Now he would face consequences. That wasn't about her. That was about the rule of law working as it should. She flew home feeling lighter than she had in months. Her life was expanding. Her foundation was growing. Her business was thriving. And maybe, just maybe, she was ready to start considering what came next. Gerald's sentencing hearing was on a Tuesday morning in March. Simone didn't attend. She didn't need to. Patricia called afterward with the details. 7 years in prison. No early parole eligibility. The judge was harsh. How did he take it? About as well as you'd expect. He tried to give a speech about how he was sorry and had made mistakes. The judge cut him off. Said his actions showed systematic dishonesty and betrayal of trust. 7 years, Simone. He'll be 51 when he gets out. After hanging up, Simone sat in her office at Sterling Solutions and felt nothing. No satisfaction. No anger. Just a quiet acknowledgement that consequences had arrived as they inevitably do. Gerald had chosen his path. Now he would walk it. Phoenix House was expanding faster than anticipated. By April, they had helped 112 women. The satellite office was operating at capacity. Simone hired 2 more therapists, another attorney, and a financial advisor who specialized in helping women rebuild credit and create financial stability. The work was rewarding but exhausting. Some days she came home drained from hearing stories of betrayal, abuse, and struggle. Other days she came home energized by witnessing transformations. Women who arrived broken leaving empowered. Women who thought they had nothing discovering they had everything they needed inside themselves. Dante was patient. They continued their weekly dinners. He didn't push for more, didn't pressure her to define what they were. He just showed up. Consistent, kind, and genuinely interested in her life. One evening in late April, they were walking through a park after dinner when he said, "Tell me something you've never told anyone." That's a big question. I'm genuinely curious. What's something about Simone Carter that nobody knows? She thought about it. I wanted to leave Gerald 3 years ago. I had the lawyer's number. I had drafted the divorce papers in my head. But I stayed because I was scared. Not of being alone. Of admitting I had wasted all that time on someone who didn't love me. That's not waste. That's hope. You stayed because you believed in commitment. That's honorable, not weak. It felt weak. Hope is never weak. Giving up on yourself would have been weak. You never did that. They sat on a bench overlooking a pond. Ducks glided across the water, oblivious to human complexity. Can I tell you something I've never told anyone? Dante asked. Of course. I was engaged once. 5 years ago. She left me 2 weeks before the wedding. Said she realized she didn't love me, she loved the life I could give her. That distinction destroyed me for a while. I'm sorry. Don't be. It taught me to look for substance over surface. When I met you, I saw someone who had built substance. Who valued character over comfort. That's rare. We're quite a pair. Both burned by people who didn't see our value. Or maybe we're exactly what each other needs. People who understand what it's like to be underestimated and who decided to prove everyone wrong. Something shifted in Simone's chest. A loosening of the tight grip she'd kept on her heart. Dante wasn't Gerald. He didn't diminish her. He celebrated her. He didn't need her to be smaller. He encouraged her to be bigger. I think I'm ready, she said quietly. Ready for what? To try this. Whatever this is. He smiled and took her hand. No pressure. No expectations. Just 2 people who respect each other seeing where this goes. Their first official date was at a small jazz club downtown. The music was intimate and soulful, the atmosphere warm. Dante was attentive without being overwhelming. He asked about her week, her challenges at Phoenix House, her upcoming speaking engagement in Boston. You're going to be traveling a lot with all these speaking requests, he said. I know. But the message matters. If sharing my story helps other women realize they can rebuild, then it's worth the exhaustion. Just don't burn yourself out. Even steel needs rest. Are you worried about me? I'm invested in your well-being. That's different from worry. I trust you to know your limits. That trust felt like oxygen. Gerald had never trusted her judgment. He had questioned every decision, criticized every choice. Dante's trust in her capabilities was revolutionary. May brought Vanessa's trial. Simone didn't attend that either. Patricia provided updates. The evidence was overwhelming. Vanessa had embezzled $63,000 from her real estate firm over 18 months. Her defense that Gerald had manipulated her fell apart when prosecutors showed she had been stealing before they met. The jury convicted her in 4 hours. Sentencing was set for June. Simone received a letter from Vanessa during the trial. It was forwarded through Patricia's office with a note. "You don't have to read this if you don't want to." Simone almost threw it away. But curiosity won. She opened it. "Simone, I know you hate me. I understand. I destroyed your marriage and I'm paying for my mistakes now. But I need you to know something. Gerald lied to both of us. He told me you were separated. He told me you didn't care about him anymore. He painted you as cold and distant. I believed him because I wanted to. That doesn't excuse what I did. It just explains it. I'm facing prison time now. My husband divorced me and took our house. I lost my job and my reputation. I have nothing left. I'm not asking for forgiveness or sympathy. I just wanted you to know that I was wrong about you. You're not the person Gerald described. You're strong and successful in everything I'm not. I hope someday you can find peace. Vanessa." Simone read it twice. The letter was manipulative even in its honesty. Vanessa was trying to create a connection to make Simone see her as a victim too. But Simone knew better. Vanessa had made choices. She had chosen to believe Gerald without verification. She had chosen to pursue a married man. She had chosen to steal from her employer. Choices had consequences. Simone burned the letter in her fireplace just like she had burned Gerald's. Some people didn't deserve space in her life, even as cautionary tales. Phoenix House celebrated its first anniversary in June with a gala fundraiser. The event raised $300,000. Simone gave a speech thanking supporters and sharing success stories. 200 women had been helped in the first year. They were projecting 400 in year 2. Dante was her date for the gala. He looked handsome in a tuxedo and more importantly he looked proud to be there. Not as the center of attention but as support for what Simone had built. During the cocktail hour, a reporter from the local paper approached. "Miss Carter, can I ask about your ex-husband's conviction? How does it feel knowing he's serving 7 years?" Dante started to intercede but Simone held up a hand. She looked at the reporter directly. "It feels like justice. Not for me personally but for the system he betrayed. He stole from his employer and faced consequences. That's how things should work. Now if you'll excuse me, tonight is about celebrating the women we've helped, not dwelling on the man who hurt me." She walked away head high. Dante squeezed her hand. "Well said." The evening was perfect. Dancing, speeches, success stories. Simone looked around the ballroom at the 250 people who had shown up to support Phoenix House and felt overwhelming gratitude. This was her life now. Built on purpose and compassion, not on trying to please someone who would never be satisfied. Late that night after the gala ended, Dante walked her to her car. The parking garage was quiet and dimly lit. "Tonight was incredible," he said. "You've built something that matters. We've built something. Your donation got this started. Your connections brought in half the sponsors tonight. I wrote checks. You created transformation." He pulled her closer and kissed her. Really kissed her. Not a polite goodnight peck. A kiss that held promise and passion and possibility. When they pulled apart, Simone was breathless. "Wow," she managed. "Too much. Just enough. But I need to take this slow. I'm not ready to rush into anything. Slow is fine. I'm not going anywhere." That promise settled into her bones. He wasn't going anywhere. He wasn't going to wake up one day and decide she wasn't enough. He wasn't going to have an affair or betray her trust. He was solid and real and present. Maybe she could trust again. Maybe she could build something real with someone who saw her value from the beginning. June turned into July. Sterling Solutions secured a contract with a major automotive manufacturer to redesign their entire cybersecurity infrastructure. The deal was worth $60 million over 3 years. Simone's personal net worth crossed $80 million. She celebrated by taking her team to a nice dinner and giving everyone bonuses. Then she donated $2 million to Phoenix House for expansion. By year's end, they would have 4 locations operating across the region. Vanessa was sentenced in late July. 4 years in prison. Simone didn't react when Patricia called with the news. It was what it was. Justice running its course. What mattered more was what was building in her own life. Phoenix House was thriving. Sterling Solutions was expanding. And her relationship with Dante was deepening into something real and sustainable. They took a weekend trip to the coast in August. A small bed and breakfast overlooking the ocean. They walked on the beach, talked for hours, and spent the evening on the balcony watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of orange and pink. "I love you," Dante said as the sun disappeared below the horizon. Simone's heart stuttered. She hadn't expected those words. Hadn't prepared for them. But when she looked at him, really looked at him, she realized she felt the same. "I love you too." He kissed her and she felt something she hadn't felt in over a decade. Say, cherished. This was what love was supposed to feel like. Not the desperate grasping of her marriage to Gerald, but the quiet certainty of two people who chose each other and kept choosing each other every day. That night, she called Laurel from the bathroom. "I told Dante I love him. And I mean it. I actually mean it. This isn't like Gerald. This is real. I'm happy for you, Simone. You deserve someone who sees how incredible you are." He proposed we take the next step. Move in together eventually. Not now, but soon. How do you feel about that? Terrified and excited. Mostly excited. Is that crazy? It's only been a few months. It's only been a few months, but you've known each other through the hardest time of your life. That's more real than years of casual dating. If it feels right, trust it. Simone looked at her reflection in the mirror. She barely recognized the woman staring back. This version of herself was confident, successful, and learning to trust again. This version had survived betrayal and built an empire. This version was ready for happiness. She went back to the balcony where Dante was waiting. They sat in comfortable silence watching the stars emerge. "I'm ready to see where this goes," she said. "So am I. No rush. No pressure. Just us building something real." Building. That word resonated. She had built a business. Built a foundation. Now she was building a relationship based on mutual respect and genuine love. The future stretched out before her, full of possibility. She had come so far from that note on the kitchen counter. And she was just getting started. The email came from a journalist named Rachel Torres at a major national magazine. "I'm writing a feature on women who transformed personal tragedy into social impact. Your story with Phoenix House came to my attention. Would you be willing to be interviewed?" Simone sat with the email for 2 days. Sharing her story at conferences was one thing. A national magazine profile was different. More permanent. More exposed. She called Dr. Johnson. "What's holding you back?" Dr. Johnson asked. "Fear of judgment. Fear that people will think I'm exploiting my divorce for publicity." "Are you?" "No. Phoenix House exists to help women. If my story encourages donations or inspires others to build similar programs, that's purpose, not exploitation." Then why does the judgment of strangers matter? That question stayed with Simone. Why did it matter? She had built 2 successful enterprises. She had helped hundreds of women rebuild their lives. She had transformed her pain into purpose. If people wanted to judge that, their judgment said more about them than her. She agreed to the interview. Rachel Torres flew in from New York in September. She was in her early 40s, sharp and thorough. They met at Phoenix House where Rachel could see the program in action. "Tell me about the note," Rachel said, recording device between them. Simone told the story again. The business trip. The cream envelope. The cold dismissal. The discovery that her husband had been living a completely different life. How long did it take to move from devastation to action? About 12 hours. I let myself feel the shock and hurt. Then I called my attorney and started planning my response. "You already had an attorney?" I'd retained her months earlier. I didn't have proof of the affair, but I knew something was wrong. I wanted to be prepared. That's incredibly strategic for someone going through emotional trauma. Trauma doesn't have to make you helpless. Sometimes it clarifies what needs to be done. They talked for 3 hours. Rachel asked about Sterling Solutions, about the decision to keep her business secret from Gerald, about Phoenix House's founding and growth. She asked about the embezzlement, the arrests, the trials. "Your ex-husband is serving 7 years. His mistress is serving 4. How do you feel about that?" "I feel like the justice system worked. They committed crimes. They're facing consequences. That's not about me getting revenge. That's about accountability. But surely there's some satisfaction? There's relief. Relief that I'm free from someone who saw me as disposable. Relief that I discovered my own strength. Satisfaction isn't the right word. More like validation that I wasn't wrong to expect honesty and respect in my marriage." Rachel interviewed staff at Phoenix House, several clients who agreed to share their stories, and Dante, who had become a major donor and board member. "What drew you to support Phoenix House?" Rachel asked him. Simone's vision. She didn't just want to help women financially. She wanted to address the whole person: legal, emotional, professional. That comprehensive approach is rare. And her personal story gives her credibility. She's not some wealthy philanthropist writing checks from a distance. She lived this experience. She knows what these women need because she needed it herself. The article was published in November. The cover showed Simone standing in the main room at Phoenix House, surrounded by the women the program had helped. The headline read, "From Betrayal to Building, How One Woman's Divorce Note Sparked a Movement." The story went viral within hours. Social media exploded. Women shared their own stories of divorce and rebuilding. The Phoenix House website crashed from traffic. Donation requests flooded in. Interview requests from television shows, podcasts, and other publications. Simone's phone didn't stop ringing for 3 days. Sterling Solutions clients called to congratulate her. Some didn't know about her divorce or Phoenix House. She had kept her professional life separate deliberately. Now everything was public. The response was overwhelmingly positive. A few critics said she was capitalizing on victimhood. She ignored them. The thousands of supportive messages drowned out the handful of negative ones. 3 days after the article published, someone knocked on her office door at Sterling Solutions. Her assistant peeked in. "There's someone here to see you. She doesn't have an appointment but says it's urgent." Her name is Vanessa Wright. Simone's heart stopped. Vanessa was supposed to be in prison. She checked the news quickly. Early release program. Vanessa had served 18 months of her 4-year sentence and been released to a halfway house. "Tell her I'm not available." She's crying in the lobby. She says she just needs 5 minutes. "No. I have nothing to say to her and she has nothing to say that I need to hear." Her assistant nodded and left. Simone watched through her office window as security escorted Vanessa out of the building. The woman looked diminished. Thin and worn, nothing like the polished real estate agent who had helped destroy her marriage. She felt no satisfaction in that. Just a tired relief that she didn't have to engage. 10 minutes later, an email arrived from an unknown address. Simone almost deleted it, then saw the subject line, "Please read Vanessa." Against her better judgment, she opened it. "Simone, I know you don't want to hear from me. I don't blame you. But I saw the article and I need you to know something. You're incredible. What you've built, how you've transformed your pain into helping others, that's the person Gerald described you as not being. He told me you were cold, unambitious, focused only on yourself. Every word was a lie. You're the opposite of what he said. I write this not to make you feel sorry for me or to ask for anything. I write this because you deserve to know that I was completely wrong about you. I believed a liar and destroyed a good woman's marriage. I'm paying for that now. Not just in prison but in knowing I was the villain in someone else's story. I hope Phoenix House helps thousands of women. I hope you find happiness. I hope you never think of me again because I don't deserve space in your thoughts. I just wanted you to know that I see who you really are now and I'm ashamed of who I was. Vanessa." Simone read it once. Then she forwarded it to Dr. Johnson with a note. "Is this genuine or manipulative?" Dr. Johnson called within the hour. "It's both. She's genuinely remorseful and trying to manipulate you into forgiving her. Whether you engage is entirely up to you." "I don't want to engage. I don't want her in my life in any capacity." "Then don't respond. Delete the email. Block the address. You owe her nothing." Simone did exactly that. Vanessa was part of her past. A painful chapter that was closed. She had no interest in reopening it. The article's impact continued to grow. By December, Phoenix House had received over $2 million in donations. The board voted to expand to 10 locations across 3 states by the end of the following year. Simone hired a full-time executive director to manage operations while she focused on strategic growth and fundraising. Sterling Solutions landed a contract with a major tech company to overhaul their entire data infrastructure. The deal was worth $90 million over 5 years. Simone's net worth crossed $100 million. She celebrated with Dante, her team, and her sister. But the celebration was low-key. Wealth was a tool, not a trophy. What mattered was what she could build with it. At a Phoenix House board meeting in mid-December, one of the board members asked, "Have you thought about franchising this model? Other cities need what you've built here." "I have. But I want to make sure quality doesn't suffer in expansion. It's not enough to slap the Phoenix House name on a program. It has to deliver the same comprehensive support we deliver here. What if you created a training program? Taught other cities how to build their own version?" That idea took root. By the end of the meeting, they had outlined a plan to create the Phoenix House Institute. a training program that would teach other organizations how to build comprehensive divorce support systems. Launch date, 6 months. Simone left that meeting energized. This was scaling impact. Not just helping hundreds of women but thousands across the country. That evening, she had dinner with Dante at their favorite Italian restaurant. Over wine and pasta, he said, "Move in with me." "What?" "Move in with me. My place or yours, I don't care. But I love you and I want to build a life with you. Not someday. Now." That's a big step. We've been together for over a year. We spend most nights together anyway. This just makes it official. Simone thought about her house. The one Gerald had tried to claim. The one that represented her independence and strength. Could she share it? Could she trust someone in her space that fully? Can we try something first? Spend a month really living together. Your place, my place, doesn't matter. See how it actually feels before we make it permanent. Deal. Starting when? Starting now. They spent December essentially living together, rotating between his modern apartment downtown and her house in the suburbs. It was easier than Simone expected. Dante was considerate, clean, and respected her need for space when work demanded her attention. By Christmas she knew. This was right. He was right. She was ready to build a life with someone who saw her as a partner, not a subordinate. On Christmas Eve, sitting by the fireplace in her living room, she said, "I'm ready to make this official. Move in here. Make this our home. Are you sure? This house means a lot to you. It means I survived. But home should mean more than survival. It should mean building something good. And I want to build that with you." They toasted with champagne and spent the evening planning how to combine their lives. It felt natural. Easy. Right. Simone's life had transformed completely in 18 months. From a woman reading a cold dismissal on her kitchen counter to a CEO, philanthropist, and someone learning to trust love again. The exposure from the article hadn't damaged her. It had amplified her impact. And the future stretched ahead full of possibility. She was just getting started. The new year brought new challenges and new victories. Phoenix House opened its 5th location in January. The Training Institute launched with 30 organizations enrolled from 15 different states. Sterling Solutions promoted 3 team members to vice president positions and hired 20 new developers. Simone was everywhere at once, speaking at conferences, managing her business, overseeing Phoenix House expansion, and building a life with Dante. One February morning, Patricia called with unexpected news. Gerald's parole hearing is next month. Simone felt her stomach clench. Already? He's only served 2 years. He's not getting out. Don't worry. But the state requires a hearing. His attorney will make an appeal. It'll be denied. I wanted you to be prepared in case media coverage brings his name back into public discussion. Does he know about the article? About Phoenix House? Everyone in prison knows. According to my sources, he's bitter about it. Feels you've made yourself the victim when he's the one suffering in prison. Simone almost laughed. Gerald had stolen $200,000, destroyed 2 marriages, and faced the consequences of his actions. Yet he saw himself as the victim. Let him think what he wants. I'm not interested in his perspective. The parole hearing happened in March. Patricia attended to file a victim impact statement on Simone's behalf. Gerald's appeal was denied in 15 minutes. The parole board cited the severity of his crimes and his lack of genuine remorse. He would serve his full sentence. That same week, Simone received a letter forwarded from Patricia's office. Gerald had written from prison. She considered not opening it. But Dante encouraged her. Read it. Not because he deserves your attention, but because closure comes from seeing who he really is without illusions. She opened it. Simone, I saw the magazine article. You've done well for yourself. Built an empire while I'm rotting in here. I'm sure that makes you happy. You always were vindictive. But I want you to remember something. I made you. Before we got married, you were nobody. You had no direction, no ambition. I pushed you to be better. Everything you have now, you built because I taught you how to succeed. So while you're accepting awards and doing interviews, remember who shaped you into the woman you are today. You're welcome. Also, I need money for my commissary account. Vanessa can't help. Her husband cleaned her out. You have millions. $500 would help. Transfer it to my prison account. I know you still care about me despite everything. Gerald. Simone read it 3 times, each reading revealing new layers of delusion. Gerald believed he had created her success. Believed she owed him gratitude. Believed she would send him money. She showed the letter to Dante. His jaw clenched as he read. This man is delusional. Completely. He genuinely thinks he shaped me into who I am. He has no idea that you succeeded in spite of him, not because of him. Simone wrote a response. She didn't send it. Just writing it felt cathartic. Gerald, thank you for reminding me why I'm grateful our marriage ended. You didn't make me. You almost destroyed me. Every day of our marriage you told me I wasn't enough. That my work didn't matter. That my dreams were silly. I built Sterling Solutions in secret because you would have sabotaged it if you'd known. I built it with talent and determination you never recognized because you were too busy embezzling and having an affair. You taught me nothing except what kind of man to avoid. As for money, you're in prison for stealing. I don't reward thieves. Find someone else to manipulate. I'm done. Simone. She burned both letters in the fireplace, watching them curl and blacken into ash. That chapter was completely closed. Spring brought more growth. Phoenix House helped its 500th woman in April. The success stories were remarkable. Women who had arrived broken now owned businesses, held professional positions, pursued degrees. The transformation was real and measurable. Sterling Solutions won a National Innovation Award for their cybersecurity protocols. The ceremony was in Washington, D.C., a black-tie gala with industry leaders from around the world. Simone gave an acceptance speech about building companies that prioritized both profit and purpose. Afterward, a woman approached her. I went through a terrible divorce 5 years ago. I saw your magazine article. It inspired me to start my own business. I just wanted to say thank you for being honest about how hard it was and how possible rebuilding is. These moments made everything worthwhile. Not the awards or the wealth. The knowledge that her story helped others find their own strength. May brought an unexpected encounter. Simone was getting coffee at a shop near her office when she saw Gerald. He was thinner, older looking, wearing a cheap suit that didn't fit properly. He had been released early on good behavior, serving 5 years instead of 7. Their eyes met. He looked shocked, then angry, then something that might have been shame. He approached her before she could leave. Simone. Gerald. You look good. Success suits you. Thank you. If you'll excuse me, I have a meeting. Wait, can we talk? Just for a minute? Every instinct told her to walk away. But curiosity won. You have 60 seconds. I made mistakes. Terrible mistakes. I know I hurt you. I know I destroyed what we had. I just want you to know I'm sorry. Okay? That's it? Just okay? What do you want me to say, Gerald? That I forgive you? That I understand? I don't forgive you and I don't understand how you could do what you did. But I also don't hate you. I'm indifferent to you. You're part of my past. A painful chapter that taught me important lessons. Now if you'll excuse me. Simone, wait. I saw what you built. Phoenix House. Sterling Solutions. You're worth over $100 million. I just need a little help getting back on my feet. Alone. $20,000 to start over. She looked at him carefully. He was still the same. Still thinking she owed him something. Still believing he could manipulate her. No. No? Just like that? After 12 years of marriage? Gerald, you tried to throw me out of my own house to move your mistress in. You stole money. You lied. You destroyed our marriage for a woman who's now also broke and alone. You made your choices. Now live with the consequences. I owe you nothing. She walked away without looking back. Her hands shook slightly but her voice had been steady. She had faced him and felt nothing but pity for the small, bitter man he had become. That evening, she told Dante about the encounter over dinner. How do you feel? He asked. Free. Completely free. He has no power over me anymore. Not emotional power, not financial power, nothing. He's just a man who made terrible choices and has to live with them. You're remarkable, you know that? I'm just someone who refused to let betrayal define me. June brought the most important development yet. Dante took Simone to dinner at an exclusive restaurant overlooking the city. They had champagne and talked about Phoenix House's expansion plans. After dessert, he took her hand. Simone Carter, you are the strongest, most incredible person I've ever met. You took the worst experience of your life and turned it into purpose. You built empires. You helped thousands of women rebuild their lives. And you let me love you even though trusting again was terrifying. I want to spend the rest of my life building things with you. Will you marry me? He pulled out a ring. Simple, elegant, perfect. Not showy or ostentatious. Just beautiful. Simone felt tears in her eyes. Happy tears. Hopeful tears. Yes. Absolutely yes. He slipped the ring on her finger and kissed her while the restaurant burst into applause. She was getting married again. Not to someone who would diminish her but to someone who celebrated her. Not to someone who needed her to be smaller, but to someone who encouraged her to be bigger. That night they called family and close friends. Laurel cried happy tears. "You deserve this, Simone. You deserve someone who sees how amazing you are. I never thought I'd trust anyone enough to get married again." "That's because you hadn't met the right person yet. Dante is the right person." Planning the wedding was joyful instead of stressful. They wanted something intimate and meaningful. A small ceremony with close friends and family. No ostentatious display. Just two people committing to build a life together based on mutual respect and genuine love. July brought more validation. The Phoenix House Institute had trained organizations in 23 states. Success rates were promising. Women were being helped at scale. Simone's vision was becoming a national movement. Sterling Solutions secured a government contract to redesign cybersecurity for a major federal agency. The deal was worth $120 million over 7 years. Simone's company had become one of the top cybersecurity firms in the country. In August, Vanessa reached out one final time. An email to Phoenix House's general address asking if she could volunteer. The staff brought it to Simone's attention. "Absolutely not," Simone said. "She's not part of this organization in any capacity. Delete the email and block the address." Some people didn't get redemption through association. Vanessa would have to find her own path to rebuilding. It wouldn't be through Phoenix House. September marked 2 years since Simone had found that note on her kitchen counter. 2 years of transformation, growth, and rebuilding. She stood in her office looking at everything she had created. A $100 million business. A foundation helping thousands of women. A relationship built on mutual respect and love. A life that felt authentic and purposeful. Gerald had tried to leave her with nothing. Instead, he had freed her to build everything. The wedding was planned for October. Small and intimate. Everything she wanted. Everything she deserved. Justice wasn't always about punishment. Sometimes it was about living well. About building something meaningful from the ashes of what was destroyed. About becoming the person you were always meant to be. Simone Carter had found her justice. And it was sweet beyond measure. The wedding took place on a perfect October afternoon at a vineyard overlooking rolling hills painted in autumn colors. 50 guests, close friends, family, Phoenix House staff, key Sterling Solutions team members, and a few venture capitalists who had become genuine friends. Simone wore a simple cream dress, elegant and understated. No veil, no train, no excessive drama. Just beautiful in its simplicity. Laurel stood beside her as maid of honor, tears already streaming down her face. "You look happy," Laurel whispered as they waited for the ceremony to begin. "I'm happy. Really, genuinely happy. Not the forced happiness I tried to maintain with Gerald. Real happiness. That's all I ever wanted for you." The ceremony was brief and personal. No traditional vows read from a card. Instead, Simone and Dante spoke from their hearts. "Dante, 2 years ago I thought I knew what marriage was," Simone said. "I thought it meant making myself smaller to make someone else comfortable. Accepting criticism as care. Believing I wasn't enough. You showed me what partnership really looks like. You celebrate my success instead of resenting it. You encourage my growth instead of limiting it. You see me? Completely in love what you see. I promise to give you the same respect, support, and love you've given me. To build a life together where we both thrive. To never make you question your worth the way I question mine. I choose you today and I'll choose you every day after." Dante's voice was thick with emotion as he responded. "Simone, you are the bravest person I know. You took pain that would have destroyed most people and turned it into purpose. You built businesses and foundations while healing from betrayal. You trusted me even when trust felt impossible. I promise to never take that trust for granted. To always see you as the remarkable woman you are. To support your dreams, celebrate your victories, and stand beside you through challenges. I choose you today and every day after." They exchanged rings. Simple platinum bands engraved with the date and a quote they both loved. She needed a hero, so she became one. The reception was joyful. Good food, better wine, and authentic celebration. No forced traditions. No awkward speeches from people who didn't really know them. Just people who genuinely cared about the couple sharing in their happiness. During dinner, Simone's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Congratulations on your wedding. I saw the announcement in the paper. I'm happy you found someone who deserves you. Maybe one day we can talk again. Maybe one day you can forgive me." Gee, she showed it to Dante. He read it and shook his head. He still doesn't get it. No, he doesn't. And that's not my problem anymore. She blocked the number and returned her attention to the celebration. Gerald didn't get to intrude on this day. This was hers and Dante's, built on truth and mutual respect. After dinner, Simone gave a brief speech thanking everyone for coming. Then she said something unexpected. 2 years ago, I came home from a business trip and found a note from my husband telling me to be gone before he returned with his mistress. That note broke my heart. It also freed me to become the person I was always meant to be. So in a strange way, I'm grateful for it. Grateful for the clarity it brought. Grateful for the strength I discovered. Grateful for every difficult moment that led me here, to this beautiful day with this remarkable man and all of you. If you're going through something difficult right now, please know, it's not your ending. It's just the painful middle of a story that can end with you thriving. Thank you for being part of my story. The applause was thunderous. Several women were crying. One of the Phoenix House clients approached Simone later. Thank you for sharing your story so openly. It gave me hope when I had none. I'm 6 months divorced now and I just started my own business. You showed me it's possible. These moments made everything worthwhile. The pain, the struggle, the rebuilding. If her story helped even one person find strength, then it all mattered. The honeymoon was 2 weeks in New Zealand. Far from work, from responsibility, from everything except each other. They hiked, explored, talked for hours, and simply enjoyed being together without the demands of their busy lives. On a quiet beach one evening, Dante asked, "What are you thinking about?" How different this is from my first marriage. With Gerald, even happy moments had tension underneath. I was always performing, trying to be what he wanted. With you, I'm just me. And that's enough. You're more than enough. You're everything. They returned from the honeymoon to exciting news. Phoenix House had been selected for a major foundation grant, $5 million to expand to 15 new cities over the next 3 years. The Phoenix House Institute had requests from organizations in 40 states wanting training. Sterling Solutions had been approached by an international tech conglomerate interested in acquisition. The offer was staggering, $300 million for the company. Simone sat with that decision for weeks. $300 million would set her up for life. She could focus entirely on Phoenix House. But Sterling Solutions was her baby. The thing she had built when Gerald told her work didn't matter. In the end, she declined the acquisition but accepted a partnership deal. The conglomerate would invest $75 million for a 30% stake, allowing Sterling Solutions to expand internationally while Simone maintained control. Best of both worlds. December brought the annual Phoenix House Gala. Now in its 3rd year, the event raised $6 million. Over 2,000 women had been helped since the organization's founding. The success stories were remarkable and ongoing. During the gala, Simone was approached by a woman she didn't recognize. Mid-30s, professional-looking, carrying herself with quiet confidence. "Miss Carter? I'm Tamara Jefferson. I was your first client at Phoenix House." It took Simone a moment to recognize her. Tamara had been broken when she arrived. Devastated, scared, with 2 young children and no resources. Now she stood poised and successful. "Tamara, look at you. How are you?" "I'm incredible. I wanted to tell you, I'm the new regional manager for a major healthcare company. 6-figure salary, benefits, everything. My kids are thriving. I bought a house last month. None of this would have been possible without Phoenix House. Without you showing me that rebuilding was possible." Simone hugged her tightly. "You did this. Phoenix House gave you tools. You did the work. You showed me it was possible to be more than what my ex-husband told me I was. That's everything." Walking home that night, Simone reflected on how far she had come. From a woman reading a dismissal note to a CEO, philanthropist, wife, and role model for thousands of women. The journey had been painful. But it had been worth it. January brought an unexpected encounter. Simone was having lunch with a potential investor when she saw Gerald across the restaurant. He was with a woman younger and unpolished. His clothes were cheap. His posture defeated. He looked up and their eyes met. He didn't approach. Just gave a small nod of acknowledgement. She nodded back. No anger. No satisfaction. Just recognition that they had once known each other and now they didn't. The investor noticed. "Someone you know?" "Someone I used to know. A long time ago." After lunch, she walked through the city thinking about Gerald. He had tried to destroy her and had destroyed himself instead. She had rebuilt stronger than ever. That wasn't revenge. That was reality. Actions had consequences. Choices created outcomes. She felt grateful for the note that had seemed so cruel. It had freed her from a marriage that was slowly killing who she was. It had pushed her into the life she was meant to live. That evening, she sat with Dante in their home office. She was reviewing Phoenix House expansion plans. He was analyzing Sterling Solutions' international growth strategy. They worked in comfortable silence, occasionally sharing thoughts or asking opinions. "I'm happy," Simone said suddenly. Dante looked up. "I'm glad." "No, I mean really happy. Not the fake happiness I performed with Gerald. Real, deep, authentic happiness. I love my work. I love our life. I love who I've become. You're remarkable, Simone Carter Morrison." She smiled at the hyphenated name she had chosen, not abandoning her identity for his, joining their names the way they had joined their lives. Equal partners building something meaningful together. February marked 3 years since the note. 3 years of transformation, growth, and building. Simone sat down and wrote a letter. Not to send to anyone, just to document the journey. "Dear woman who read that note 3 years ago, I know you're devastated. I know you feel like your world ended. I know you're questioning everything about yourself. But I need you to know something. You're going to be okay. More than okay. You're going to thrive in ways you can't imagine right now." That note wasn't the end. It was the beginning. The beginning of you discovering who you really are. The beginning of you building businesses and foundations that help thousands of people. The beginning of you learning what real love looks like. Gerald was wrong about you. Wrong about your worth, your potential, your strength. And his wrongness freed you to prove just how wrong he was. 3 years from now, you'll be married to someone who celebrates your success. You'll run $100 million company. You'll have helped thousands of women rebuild their lives. You'll be genuinely happy. So cry today. Feel the pain. Process the betrayal. Then get up tomorrow and start building the life you deserve. Because you deserve everything. And you're going to create it. With love and hope, your future self. She sealed the letter in an envelope and put it in her desk drawer. Maybe someday she'd share it with women at Phoenix House who were just beginning their journey from devastation to empowerment. Spring brought more milestones. Phoenix House opened its 20th location. Sterling Solutions exceeded 500 employees. Simone was featured on the cover of Forbes magazine. The CEO who turned betrayal into billions, How Simone Carter Morrison Built an Empire While Rebuilding Her Life. The article was comprehensive. Her story, her businesses, her foundation, her philosophy on turning pain into purpose. She was now worth over $200 million personally. But more importantly, she had created systems that were helping thousands of people. On the anniversary of her wedding to Dante, they took a weekend trip to the coast. The same bed and breakfast where they had first said, "I love you." They walked on the beach talking about the year ahead. "What's next for you?" Dante asked. "You've built everything you set out to build. What's the next challenge?" Sustainability. Making sure Phoenix House and Sterling Solutions thrive long after I'm not actively managing them daily. Building systems that outlast me. Creating legacies that matter. You're thinking about succession planning? I'm thinking about impact. I want Phoenix House to help women 50 years from now. I want Sterling Solutions to still be innovating. That means building structures that don't depend on me being involved every day. They sat on the beach watching the sunset paint the sky in brilliant colors. The same sky Gerald had once shared with Vanessa while betraying his marriage. The same sky Simone now shared with someone who valued her completely. "Do you ever think about him?" Dante asked. "Sometimes. Mostly I feel sorry for him. He had something real and he destroyed it for something temporary. Now he's alone and bitter while I'm here with you, building meaningful things. That's not revenge I orchestrated. That's just the natural outcome of our different choices. You're a better person than I am. I think about him sometimes and I'm just glad he's miserable." Simone laughed. "Maybe we're both right. Maybe he deserves to be miserable and I deserve to be happy. Maybe that's just how justice works." That night, in their room overlooking the ocean, Simone reflected on her journey. From a woman dismissed with a note to a woman building legacies. From someone trying to be small enough to fit someone else's limitations to someone expansive enough to impact thousands of lives. Gerald's note had intended to break her. Instead, it had freed her. And that freedom had been the greatest gift, even though it came wrapped in pain. She fell asleep next to Dante, grateful for every moment that had led her here. The pain, the struggle, the rebuilding, all of it necessary, all of it worthwhile. Because she hadn't just survived, she had thrived. And she was just getting started. The future stretched ahead full of possibility. More women to help. More businesses to build. More impact to create. More life to live with someone who saw her value from the very beginning. Gerald had tried to write her ending. Instead, he had freed her to write her own story.